Well, good Friday the 13th to you. And hope you're having a good day, even though it is Friday the 13th. And thank you for being here. And we will be picking up in the 8th verse of the 135th Psalm. And I guess really the easiest way to describe this section is the psalmist is just um, listing some of the things that God has done, some of the reasons that He feels like we can put our confidence and trust in Him, and just really kind of, I guess, what you say, giving God's resume, what God has done for the people, how He has demonstrated His power in days gone by. And beginning in verse 8, he's still talking about some of the things that God did in Egypt, when he says, "Who smote the firstborn of Egypt, both of man and beast." And we remember that story. Again, I'm going to go ahead and read because it all goes together. "Who sent tokens and wonders unto the midst of thee, O Egypt, upon Pharaoh and upon all his servants, who smote great nations and slew mighty kings, Sihon, king of the Amorites, and Og, king of Bashan, and all the kingdoms of Canaan." And what he does here again, he starts out by talking about the plagues in Egypt and how God had brought judgment on them, but then he continues by listing some of the other nations, some of the other kingdoms who had come against Israel. And he reminds them of a story that, again, that certainly everybody would be familiar with and remember, and that is how God did strike down the firstborn of every house. How he brought the verse 9 says he sent tokens, the 10 plagues that came upon Egypt and their nation because of their refusal to release the Israelites. That God stepped in and executed His judgment, demonstrated His power in that situation. But not only there, it goes on, and many other nations who smote great nations. It doesn't even list them all here. He just says that there were many more that God came against. He does specifically name three: the Amorites, the king of Bashan, and all the kings of Canaan. That in every one of those cases, God had stepped in, demonstrated His great power, demonstrated His right and authority to be a judge, to judge over, to execute justice against these these people. And then in verse 12, he says, "And gave their land for a heritage unto Israel his people." That when he did that, when he came against these evil kings that had raised their hand against Israel, God defeated them. But He didn't just defeat them; then He took their land and gave their land to the Israelites. When he didn't just bring the Israelites out of Egypt and say, "All right, go get them." He brought them out and he took them into a land that he had prepared for them. And so he didn't just deliver them, but he gave them the promised land, gave them their great heritage that he had prepared for them. And I think it's easy to see the application of the lesson from this passage. Again, God delivered the Israelites out of their bondage and defeated, destroyed their enemies. But not only did He again defeat the enemy, but then He ultimately gave a land to His people. And as believers today, we have a similar hope that God will defeat our enemies, deliver us from the sin, the evil, but that He has a land prepared for us, that He has a place prepared for His people. What a great promise, what a great hope. What great courage that should give the people of God when we think about that just as God had in times past provided for, protected, delivered the children of Israel, He has promised a hope, a deliverance, a promise for His people today, for the church, that not just to get us out of the bondage, not just to get us out of that, but then to bring us in to a land that He has prepared. Jesus said that. He said, I'm going to prepare a place for you, that where I am there, you may be also. And today, that's our great hope, and I hope that'll help you through a day. Again, I know Friday the 13th is a day that a lot of people look at with gloom and think of it as a bad day, a bad luck day, whatever. But as a child of God, we have hope. Even on Friday the 13th, we have a blessed hope of a God who will deliver us, but not just deliver us and get us out of that this sinful bondage, but has a better land for us, where He says there'll be no more tears, no more death, no more sickness, no more crying, that He has prepared for His people. So remind you once again to look up. Our redemption draweth nigh. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.